Imagine two people who both receive a $100,000 raise. One immediately buys a luxury SUV, upgrades to a penthouse apartment, fills their closet with designer clothes, and starts eating at expensive restaurants every weekend. 3 years later, they're living paycheck to paycheck again. The other person does something completely different. They still drive a reliable car. Their clothes look ordinary. Their friends even wonder why they haven't started enjoying their money. But behind the scenes, their investments have doubled. Their stress has dropped. Their health has improved. And they're quietly building a life that gets richer every single year. The difference isn't how much money they earned, it's what they chose to upgrade. Because here's the truth that most people discover far too late. Money doesn't solve problems. It magnifies priorities. The upgrades you make after becoming financially comfortable will determine whether you stay wealthy or slowly become broke again. Today, we're counting down 12 things that are actually worth upgrading once you have money. Some will save you thousands. Others could literally add years to your life. And the final upgrade? It's something almost every self-made millionaire eventually invests in, but surprisingly few middle-class earners ever consider. So stay with me until the end. Because the smartest upgrades aren't always the most expensive. They're the ones that quietly change the direction of your life. Before we begin, if you're serious about building wealth instead of just looking wealthy, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Every week, we share practical money lessons, investing strategies, and wealth psychology that help ordinary people build extraordinary financial futures. Now, let's begin. 12. Upgrade your mattress. If someone told you there was an investment that could improve your mood, increase your productivity, strengthen your immune system, reduce medical expenses, help you make better financial decisions, and even increase your earning potential, would you buy it? Most people would. Ironically, they already can. It's called a better mattress. Think about it. The average person spends about 1/3 of their life sleeping, yet many people spend more researching a television they'll replace in 5 years than a mattress they'll sleep on every night for the next decade. Sleep isn't laziness. Sleep is performance. When you're exhausted, you make emotional decisions. You lose patience. You eat unhealthy food. You procrastinate. You spend more impulsively. Researchers have consistently found that sleep deprivation affects judgment, memory, attention, and self-control, qualities that influence everything from your career to your finances. Successful entrepreneurs often talk about working hard. What they don't always mention is that many of them also protect their sleep like it's an important business meeting, because they know tomorrow's decisions depend on tonight's rest. Imagine waking up every morning with more energy, sharper focus, better discipline, more patience with your family, greater confidence during important meetings. That's not just comfort, that's a competitive advantage. The cheapest mattress often becomes the most expensive one when it costs you years of poor sleep. Money should buy better health before it buys better status. Speaking of health, there's another upgrade that quietly separates people who build wealth from people who simply spend it. And surprisingly, it isn't found in a luxury store. 11. Upgrade your food. There's an old saying, you can pay the farmer now or the doctor later. For years, Jason believed buying cheap processed food was saving him money. Every grocery trip became a challenge to spend as little as possible. Frozen dinners, sugary snacks, fast food because it was convenient. He proudly told friends how much he saved every month. Until one day, his doctor looked at his blood test results and quietly said, "We need to have a serious conversation. High blood pressure, pre-diabetes, elevated cholesterol, the medications, specialist appointments, time away from work, and the emotional stress ended up costing far more than the grocery savings ever did." That's when Jason realized something powerful. Healthy food isn't an expense. It's preventive maintenance. Think of your body like the engine of a high-performance car. Would you pour contaminated fuel into a Ferrari? Of course not. Yet many people put the cheapest fuel possible into the most valuable asset they'll ever own, their own body. Now, this doesn't mean buying expensive organic products just because they're trendy. It doesn't mean spending hundreds every week on specialty health foods. It means prioritizing quality over convenience. Fresh vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, fruit, water instead of sugary drinks. Simple habits that quietly improve your energy every single day. Healthy eating isn't about perfection. It's about stacking small advantages over time. Because every dollar invested in your health has the potential to return years of higher productivity, lower medical costs, and a better quality of life. Remember, if your body breaks down, everything else you've built becomes harder to enjoy. One wealthy investor was once asked what his best investment had been. People expected him to mention real estate, stocks, or a successful business. Instead, he smiled and said, "My health," because every investment he ever made depended on him being healthy enough to enjoy it. That's a perspective worth remembering. So far, we've talked about upgrading your body, but the next upgrade is even more powerful. It can multiply every dollar you earn for the rest of your life. And unlike luxury cars or expensive watches, no one may ever notice you've made it. Yet it could become the most profitable investment you'll ever make. We'll reveal that in the next part. If you've made it this far, comment "Upgrade wisely" below. I'd love to know which upgrade you're planning to make first. And if you found value in today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's working toward financial freedom. So far, we've uncovered a surprising truth. The best upgrades aren't the ones that impress strangers. They're the ones that improve your life behind the scenes. We've already talked about investing in better sleep and better nutrition, two upgrades that strengthen the foundation of everything else you do. But now we're moving into something even more valuable. The next two upgrades have the power to increase your income, reduce stress, and give you something the richest people in the world are constantly trying to buy: more time. Imagine receiving a $20,000 bonus. Most people immediately think about what they can buy: a nicer car, a designer handbag, a luxury vacation, a bigger television. But wealthy people often ask a different question: how can I use this money to make even more money? That's the mindset shift that changes everything. Meet Sarah. She had been working in marketing for nearly 6 years. Every annual raise was small, just enough to keep up with rising expenses. She dreamed about earning 6 figures, but every year looked exactly like the last. One afternoon, instead of spending her tax refund on a luxury vacation, she enrolled in an advanced digital marketing certification, improved her public speaking skills, and hired a career coach to help her negotiate better. For 6 months, it felt like nothing had changed. Then, everything changed. She landed a higher-paying position at a new company. Her salary increased by nearly $35,000 a year. Within 2 years, the money she invested in herself had returned many times over. That vacation would have created memories. But those new skills created income for the rest of her career. That's the difference. The world rewards value. The more problems you can solve, the more opportunities come your way. Whether it's learning artificial intelligence tools, coding, investing, leadership, communication, negotiation, sales, or starting a business, every valuable skill increases your earning potential. And unlike material possessions, no recession, theft, or market crash can take your knowledge away. As the saying goes, income grows to the level of your skills. When you have extra money, don't just ask, "What can I afford?" Ask, "What can I learn?" Because the smartest investment isn't always in the stock market. Sometimes it's in the person staring back at you in the mirror. But earning more money solves only half the problem. Because what happens when your income increases? But your schedule becomes completely out of control. That's where the next upgrade changes everything. 8. Upgrade your protection, not just your lifestyle. Imagine this. You've spent years building your savings. You've invested wisely. Your career is finally taking off. Life feels stable. Then one phone call changes everything. A medical emergency, a house fire, a car accident, an unexpected lawsuit, or suddenly losing your income because of an illness. Without the right protection, years of financial progress can disappear almost overnight. Here's the mistake many people make. As their income grows, they upgrade their car, their wardrobe, their home, their vacations. But they never upgrade the systems designed to protect everything they've built. Wealth isn't only about making money. It's about keeping it. Take Michael's story. After years of hard work, he finally bought his dream home. He filled it with expensive furniture, electronics, and everything he'd always wanted. But he kept the same basic insurance policy he'd purchased years earlier. "It'll probably be fine," he told himself, until a severe storm damaged large portions of his property. When he filed his claim, he discovered his coverage wasn't nearly enough. The repairs cost tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket, money that could have remained invested for his future. That painful lesson taught him something important. Protection isn't pessimism, it's preparation. The wealthiest people don't expect disasters, they simply prepare for them. That preparation might include adequate health insurance, proper home and auto coverage, life insurance if people depend on your income, an emergency fund, secure digital backups for important documents, estate planning, strong cybersecurity for your financial accounts. These aren't glamorous purchases, but they're the reason some families recover quickly from unexpected setbacks, while others spend years trying to catch up. Think of it this way. A castle isn't protected by beautiful furniture. It's protected by strong walls. The stronger your financial foundation becomes, the more important it is to protect it. Of course, protecting your money is only one side of the equation. The next upgrade protects something even more valuable: your peace of mind. 7. Upgrade your environment. Have you ever noticed how differently you behave in different environments? Walk into a cluttered room. Immediately, your mind feels distracted. Stress quietly builds. Simple tasks suddenly seem overwhelming. Now imagine walking into a clean, organized, peaceful space. Without anyone saying a word, your shoulders relax. Your thinking becomes clearer. Your energy changes. Your environment shapes your habits far more than most people realize. There's a fascinating story about a software engineer named Daniel. For years, he worked from a cramped apartment filled with distractions. Laundry piled up in one corner. The television constantly played in the background. His desk doubled as a dining table. He always believed his lack of productivity came from poor discipline. Then he moved. Not into a mansion. Not into a luxury penthouse. Just into a quieter apartment with natural light, a dedicated workspace, and fewer distractions. Within months, everything changed. He exercised more consistently. He started reading again. He launched a freelance consulting business. His income nearly doubled over the next 3 years. The biggest change wasn't the apartment, it was the environment that supported the person he wanted to become. This principle applies to every area of life. Sometimes the smartest upgrade isn't buying a bigger house, it's making your current home more peaceful. Better lighting, a quality office chair, an organized workspace, a comfortable reading corner, removing clutter, adding plants, creating spaces that encourage good habits instead of bad ones. Because your surroundings are always influencing your decisions. Successful people don't rely only on motivation. They build environments that make success easier. Ask yourself this question. Does my environment help me become the person I want to be? Or does it constantly pull me away from that goal? That single question could inspire changes that transform your daily life. There's an old saying, you become like the places you spend the most time. If your environment constantly drains your energy, steals your focus, or encourages unhealthy habits, it's quietly costing you far more than you realize. Money can't buy happiness, but it can create an environment where happiness, creativity, and productivity have a much better chance to grow. And that's an investment worth making. We've now covered 6 upgrades that strengthen your body, your career, your finances, your time, your protection, and your environment. But the next 2 upgrades might surprise you. Neither involves buying expensive possessions. In fact, one of them may require spending less, not more. Because once you have money, one of the greatest luxuries isn't owning more things. It's owning fewer things that truly matter. If you're still watching, chances are you're someone who wants lasting wealth instead of temporary status. Comment real wealth below if that's your goal. And if this video has challenged the way you think about money, don't forget to subscribe. Every week, we share practical lessons that help you build financial freedom, one smart decision at a time. By now, you may have noticed a pattern. None of the upgrades we've discussed are about showing off. They don't scream success. They whisper it. Because truly wealthy people understand something that many never learn. The best investments improve your quality of life, not your ability to impress strangers. We've upgraded your sleep, your nutrition, your skills, your time, your protection, and your environment. Now we're about to talk about 2 upgrades that can either accelerate your success or quietly sabotage it. One has everything to do with who you spend your time with. The other is about buying something that can never be replaced. 6. Upgrade the people around you. There's a powerful quote often attributed to motivational speaker. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Whether or not the math is exact, the principle is hard to ignore. Think about it. If everyone around you constantly complains about work, makes fun of people who save money, lives paycheck to paycheck, and believes wealthy people are simply lucky, how difficult will it be to build a different life? Now imagine something completely different. Your closest friends discuss books they've read. They share investment ideas. They encourage healthy habits. They celebrate discipline instead of flashy spending. They challenge you to think bigger. Which environment is more likely to shape your future? Meet Carlos. He had always dreamed of starting a business. Every time he mentioned the idea, his friends laughed. Businesses fail. Just keep your safe job. You're dreaming too big. Eventually, Carlos stopped talking about his goals. Not because he stopped believing in them, but because he grew tired of defending them. A few years later, he attended a local networking event. At first, he felt completely out of place. People were discussing entrepreneurship, investing, leadership, and personal development. Instead of criticizing his ambitions, they asked thoughtful questions. They introduced him to mentors, recommended books, shared opportunities. One conversation led to another. One introduction became a business partnership. 5 years later, Carlos owned a thriving company. People often congratulated him on his success. What they didn't see was the invisible upgrade that changed everything. He upgraded his circle. Now, this doesn't mean abandoning lifelong friends or believing you're better than anyone else. Far from it. Real wealth is built on humility. But it does mean intentionally spending more time with people who inspire growth rather than encourage complacency. Ask yourself, who challenges me to become better? Who celebrates discipline instead of consumption? Who encourages me to think long-term? Sometimes, the biggest upgrade isn't changing your address. It's changing your conversations. Because ideas are contagious. So are habits. And so are expectations. Speaking of expectations, there's another upgrade that many people postpone until they realize they've spent years chasing things they didn't actually need. Ironically, it's one of the greatest luxuries money can buy. 5. Upgrade your freedom, not your lifestyle. Imagine 2 people who each earn $250,000 a year. The first buys a massive house with a huge mortgage, luxury cars, expensive vacations financed on credit, designer wardrobes, memberships they barely use. Every month, nearly every dollar they earn is already promised to someone else. Now imagine the second person. They live comfortably, but below their means. Their home fits their needs. Their investments continue to grow. They avoid unnecessary debt. They can walk away from a stressful job if they choose. Take months off if needed. Help family members during difficult times. Travel without worrying about bills piling up. Who is truly wealthier? The answer isn't determined by income. It's determined by freedom. Let's look at Emily. She worked at a prestigious company with an impressive salary. Everyone admired her career. But privately, she dreaded Monday mornings. The pressure was constant. The hours were exhausting. Still, she couldn't leave. Her lifestyle demanded every paycheck. Then she made one decision. Instead of upgrading every aspect of her life after each raise, she invested the difference, year after year. Eventually, she built enough financial security to make choices based on happiness rather than desperation. When a healthier job opportunity came along with slightly lower pay, she accepted it without fear. For the first time in years, she wasn't trapped by her own success. That is what money is supposed to do. It should create options, not obligations. The purpose of wealth isn't to own more things. The purpose of wealth is to own your time, your choices, and your peace of mind. Financial freedom isn't about never working again. For many people, it's about never being forced to stay somewhere that no longer aligns with their values. Every unnecessary monthly payment quietly steals a little of your freedom. Every investment that grows quietly gives some of it back. So before upgrading your lifestyle, ask yourself, will this purchase increase my freedom or reduce it? That one question can prevent years of financial regret. One of the biggest myths in modern society is that success looks expensive. In reality, success often looks remarkably ordinary. The wealthiest person in the room isn't always wearing the most expensive watch. They're often the one who doesn't need anyone's approval. Because when your identity no longer depends on appearances, your money starts working for your future instead of your image. That's a transformation few people ever experience. If this message is resonating with you, take a moment to hit the like button. It helps this video reach more people who are ready to build lasting wealth instead of chasing temporary status. And if you're new here, subscribe for weekly videos on personal finance, investing, and the psychology of wealth. You're not just watching another money channel, you're learning how to build a life where your money serves you, not the other way around. We've reached the top 4. These final upgrades are where truly life-changing wealth begins. One will protect your future. Another will multiply your opportunities. And the number 1 upgrade is so powerful that nearly every self-made millionaire eventually prioritizes it. Yet most people overlook it for decades. If you've stayed with me until this point, you've probably realized something. The wealthiest people don't necessarily spend more money. They spend more intentionally. They understand that every dollar has a job. Some dollars buy temporary excitement. Others quietly improve your life for decades. The final 4 upgrades belong in that second category. These are the investments that continue paying you back long after the money is gone. Let's finish strong. 4. Upgrade your financial knowledge. Imagine receiving $1 million today. It sounds like a dream. But here's a surprising question. Would you still have that money 10 years from now? History suggests that many people wouldn't. Lottery winners, professional athletes, and celebrities have earned enormous fortunes, only to lose them because they never learned how money actually works. Money without knowledge is like driving a race car without learning how to steer. Eventually, something goes wrong. Meet Kevin. Kevin was excellent at earning money. He worked overtime. He negotiated raises. He built a successful career. But every extra dollar disappeared. He never learned about investing. He didn't understand compound growth. He avoided learning about taxes because they seemed confusing. Then one evening, he picked up a personal finance book. That single decision led to another, then another. Within a year, he understood budgeting, index investing, retirement accounts, and long-term wealth building. Nothing magical happened overnight, but over the next decade, those lessons quietly transformed his financial future. Knowledge compounds just like money. Every book, every podcast, every course, every conversation with someone financially wiser than you. Each one adds another brick to the foundation of lasting wealth. Because the more you understand money, the fewer expensive mistakes you'll make. Once you understand how money works, the next question becomes even more important. Who is working for whom? Are you always working for money? Or has your money finally started working for you? 3. Upgrade your investments. One of the biggest differences between middle-class thinking and wealthy thinking is this. Middle-class income usually depends on hours worked. Wealthy income increasingly depends on assets owned. Think about it. You can only work so many hours in a day. 24 hours is the limit for everyone. But investments don't sleep. They don't take weekends off. They don't call in sick. Imagine planting an apple tree. The first year, nothing much happens. The second year, still very little. You might even wonder if it was worth planting. But after several years, the tree begins producing fruit season after season. That's how investing works. The hardest part is waiting. Take Angela. Every month, she automatically invested part of her paycheck into diversified investments. Some of her coworkers laughed. You could buy a nicer car. You deserve to enjoy your money. But Angela understood delayed gratification. 10 years later, many of those same coworkers were still making car payments. Angela's investments had quietly grown into a portfolio that gave her options. She wasn't rich because she earned dramatically more. She became wealthy because she consistently bought assets instead of liabilities. When your income grows, don't ask, "What can I buy?" Ask, "What asset can I own?" That one habit separates consumers from builders. But there's another investment that most people overlook. Ironically, it's one of the few investments that continues paying dividends every single day. 2. Upgrade your physical and mental health. Imagine building a $10 million business, only to become too sick to enjoy it. Sadly, this happens more often than people realize. Many people spend decades sacrificing sleep, ignoring stress, skipping exercise, living on processed food, believing they'll take care of themselves later. But later has a habit of arriving unexpectedly. Health isn't something you appreciate after you lose it. It's something you protect before you need it. When you have money, invest in things that help you stay healthy. A qualified fitness coach if you need accountability. Preventive medical checkups, mental health support when life becomes overwhelming, comfortable walking shoes, a gym membership you'll actually use, regular dental care, healthy hobbies that reduce stress. Notice something? Most of these aren't flashy. No one applauds you for scheduling an annual health screening. No one admires you for choosing an evening walk over another hour scrolling social media. But your future self will. Because energy is one of life's greatest forms of wealth. Without it, every other achievement becomes harder to enjoy. And now, we've reached the #1 upgrade. Ironically, it isn't something you can hold. It isn't something you can park in your driveway. It isn't something you'll ever find in a luxury shopping mall. Yet it may become the greatest investment you ever make. 1. Upgrade your peace of mind. At first, this might sound strange. How do you buy peace of mind? The answer is, you don't, you create it. Money simply gives you more opportunities to protect it. Peace of mind comes from knowing you have an emergency fund, knowing your bills are manageable, knowing your investments continue growing while you sleep, knowing your family is protected if life takes an unexpected turn, knowing you don't have to panic every time an unexpected expense appears. Consider Robert. For years, he chased bigger paychecks. Every promotion, every bonus, every opportunity to earn more. Yet despite making more money than ever before, he couldn't relax. His lifestyle kept expanding. His debt kept growing. His stress never disappeared. One day, he decided enough was enough. He simplified his life, paid off high-interest debt, built a healthy emergency fund, invested consistently, stopped comparing himself to everyone else. Months later, something remarkable happened. His income hadn't doubled. He hadn't bought a luxury home, but he slept better. He smiled more. He worried less. For the first time in years, he felt rich. That's because true wealth isn't measured only by the size of your bank account. It's measured by the quality of your life. Can you enjoy dinner without checking your bank balance? Can you spend time with your children without thinking about unpaid bills? Can you take a vacation without returning to financial panic? Can you say no to opportunities that don't align with your values? That's real wealth. Money is simply the tool. Peace is the destination. There's an old story about two neighbors. One owned the biggest house on the street. Luxury cars filled the driveway. Every holiday meant another expensive purchase. Yet every night, he lay awake worrying about debt, market crashes, and keeping up appearances. Across the street lived another man. His house was modest, his car was reliable, his wardrobe was simple, but he had no debt. Healthy investments, strong relationships, time with his family, good health, and every night, he slept peacefully. Now ask yourself, which one was actually richer? Sometimes, the richest life isn't the loudest one, it's the calmest one. If this video changed the way you think about money, let me know in the comments. Which of these 12 upgrades do you think is the most valuable, and which one will you prioritize first? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our weekly videos on wealth creation, investing, and the psychology of building financial freedom. And remember this: don't spend your life trying to look rich. Spend it becoming financially free. Because the people who build lasting wealth rarely chase attention. They chase peace, purpose, and freedom. And those are upgrades that never go out of style. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.